hello, welcome. Hi, I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Prime Time. Tonight, we're going to have a show on women in comedy. Women in comedy. As you know, this is Women History Month. So we got to spotlight the women's in the world. There are women who are doing some of everything, and we want to spotlight them. And so now we're going to talk about women in comedy. As you know, when men dominate the comedy world with women, but when the women get out there, they show out. Okay, women show out. So we're gonna spotlight them and talk about women in comedy today because there is so many women out there. But before we get started, we got to talk about my book, Power Thoughts: Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. Okay, this book has saved so many people's lives. It is so encouraging, especially, I am targeting women who have been in abusive relationships, who have low self-esteem and that kind of thing, because women need empowering, because they be trying to do so much, and a lot of times they are put down and unappreciated. And so my book is to empower the women, of course, empower the youth to make them do the right things, because kids, they do stuff and they don't think about tomorrow. They only think about today. They think about right now in their actions. So I am targeting the youth and targeting the women because women are taken for granted. Okay. And their self-esteem go down a lot because people take them for granted, don't think they're worth anything. But women are very powerful. So that's my book, Power Thoughts. You can get it at ankproductions.com. ankproductions.com. Of course, you can always Google the book, Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes. Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes. You can Google it and get the book that way. Okay? Get the book. You won't regret it. It is a very powerful book. And also, one commercial. I am involved in a comedy, gospel, and comedy show that's coming up June the 3rd. Okay, June the 3rd is going to be at the Connect Point in Snellville. Connect Point in Snellville. So you got to come out. We got good gospel music and a lot of clean comedy. Okay, notice I said clean comedy. So we don't want anybody to get offended. I know a lot of people don't go to comedy shows because it's dirty and they don't like that. They get offended. So we're having clean comedy so everybody can come. Okay, so to get started on our show, on our conversation, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my co-host, Mr. Reggie Drummer. Hi, Reggie. How are you doing this evening?
So there, Miss Sylvia, and to all the ladies out there, happy Women History Month as we continue. I'm excited. Definitely want everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button over here. It's Grandma Media Atlanta. But you're talking about clean comedy. Sometimes it's hard. I know they got on Chris Rock because they say his mama was in the audience, and he yelled out a couple of those big bad 4-letter words, and you wanna laugh, but sometimes the comedy is so vulgar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Maybe we're getting old. Maybe I'm getting old.
Sometimes I get offended when I hear some of the stuff that they'll be saying. I'm going, that's not funny. Maybe in my younger days, it might have been halfway funny, but now some of the stuff is disrespectful and it's just not funny, because of what they're doing. Because a lot of it is cursing and sexual innuation and whatever the word is. That's not funny.
During my days of coming up and playing the dozens, we used to talk about people's mama. But, as you got older, you didn't want nobody talking about your mom. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what has happened with comedy now. There's somebody in everybody's family that you can't just pick on. And it's almost like bullying. You got people with disabilities, they go there on you. You got skin color, they go there on you. You got gender, they go there on you. If you're broke, they go there on you. So it's kind of hard, but it's some funny situations that happen that you don't have to belittle other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. But we also have a guest on the show also.
Oh,
So we
yes.
go ahead and bring her in, and she is a comedian.
Okay.
Hi, Jackie, how are you?
I am doing fabulously. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing great. Doing great. Happy Women History Month.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And happy Women's History Month to both of you as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Jackie is considered Black Coffee. That's her stage name. Jackie, you want to tell us a
Mm.
little bit about you?
Um, well, I am professionally and have been for the past, I ain't gonna tell you how many years because it ain't your business, but I am a social worker and working in social services. And I am also a comedian for the past few years. I started to do stand up and I love it. I love the audience reception, and I was listening to what you guys had to say, and of course we're going to converse about those things. But you can probably imagine I have some stories to tell being in social services, a social worker and a comedian. So, you know.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And welcome to the stage. Yeah. 'Cause there is a lot to talk about comedians, you know.
Mhm.
So just feel free to jump in whenever you want to. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This is not
If I
pushing.
may, we were, you guys were talking about the vulgarity
Yes.
of the comedy. I will tell you that some stages I've been on, that was the expectation and that was the reception. Okay.
Mhm.
And yes, I do have some stuff that could be considered blue. I do. There are times when I have been known to rival Richard Pryor. However, I am very conscious about the audience I'm presenting to. Um, Please understand that many comedians, in order for us to survive, we have to give what it is the audience wants. However, I've kind of been convicted about that lately. And so I have not been performing as much because I want to go in a different direction, especially at my age, which again is none of your business. At my age, the comedy that I used to do does not fit who I am now. And one thing about my comedy shows is that I'm going to be real. I'm going to
Mhm.
be exactly who I am. And so
Okay. So she has gone out on me. Okay. So we're talking to Black Coffee, this Jackie Nickens, who is a comedian. I met her several years ago. We were in a movie together. And so comedy is a big deal. A lot of people love going to comedy shows. Actually, comedy is a great way to release stress. Believe it or not, if you're in a lot of stress in a stressful situation, get something to make you laugh. Watch comedy on television or go to a comedy show, and it will make you laugh, make you feel better. Actually, it makes your stomach go down too and stop hurting. Because if you're stressed out and your stomach is hurting from that stress, go to the comedy show and it'll make you feel better, a whole lot better. And there are so many women who are in comedy. Believe it or not, sometimes when you're watching TV, you don't think about I'm watching a comedy show. You don't think about you don't think about these women are comedy. It's just that they're funny, but actually they are comedians. Like Carol Barnett. When you're watching her show, you don't think this is a comedian. You think Carol is funny, but Carol is a comedian. Okay, there are a lot of people like Lucy Ball was a comedian. Okay, her shows were comedic. Yeah, I guess you can say. Lucille Ball, she made people laugh. Okay, so there are a lot of women, but my favorite of all people was Jackie Moms Mabel. Okay, Jackie Moms Mabel was born back in 18 something. 18, let me see, do I have that written down? 1894. Jackie Moms Mabel. A lot of you know Moms Mabel. She was an old lady who did a lot of comedy. Everything I've heard from her was clean stuff that made you laugh like crazy. Okay, well, Moms Mabel was like the first comedian I ran across, and I love her. I love her. She's dead now. Of course, if she was born in 1894, she died in 1975. Okay, so, but she did comedy for a long time. She was the first woman to do a solo comedy at the Apollo. And she was actually the first comedian that was out there to have her own comedy show. And this was like in 1920. Yeah, she was the first female comedian to have her own show. Okay, Jackie Moms Mabel. So she did a lot of good stuff. You know, she was out there. She made people laugh. I mean, if you see it, it's a black lady that dressed in old clothes. Of course, she was an older lady, so she dressed like an older lady. She spoke her piece and she made you laugh.
And I was a big fan of Mom's Mabley because number one, her name was Jackie. Uh, and my grandmother raised me, and Mom's Mabley was a favorite of hers. And
Ah,
so I got exposed to Mom's Mabley and, became interested in women, especially Black women in comedy. I want to apologize for falling off. I think our internet provider has realized that we will be switching them on tomorrow. And so they wanted to act foolish, but that's okay. They won't get no more of these coins. But
okay.
I should be okay now because I'm on my hotspot and the bill is paid. So,
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, and here's a picture of Mom's Mabley right
yep.
here. Yep. I was watching a show of hers when she was on the Smothers Brothers. Crack me up. She
Um,
was just cracking me up. And you can go to the internet actually and hear some of the stuff that she's done and seen some of
mm,
her comedy shows.
one of
Yeah.
her lines that is one of my favorites is um, "A old man can't tell me nothing but which way a young man went."
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Because I know she did say that she don't deal with those
Mhm.
old men.
Old
Yeah,
or
nothing
broke,
for her.
they had to have money and they couldn't be old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
I like her.
I
Yep.
think um, we have to, as women, in comedy, speaking for myself, I won't say we, I'll say me. I have to be true to myself. And, there are jokes that I make with my friends about certain things. But I've gotten to the age where I don't think I want to share that with everybody. Now, when I started out in comedy, I started out doing I would do baby showers, and I would do bridal showers, and parties, and do those types of things, and I enjoyed it and I still enjoy it, but I
Hmm.
learned to tailor my comedy for the audience. And I think now I really want to do comedy for me, and then whoever likes it. And that's where I
Right,
am at this point.
right. I think when you get older, you start changing the way you think, and you start doing things differently because you're
Mhm.
wiser now. It's not all about pleasing you; it's about what's doing right and what's morally, I guess, ethically right. Yeah, I'm not even saying that right, but
Yeah, yes, you are. I get what you're saying. And for me as well, there's the added layer of I'm a social worker and I work with individuals that are 18 to 24 years old, and I'm
Mhm.
respected in a certain position. If some of the stuff I did were presented to them, I think they would view my influence differently. And for
Mhm.
me, I love comedy. And if I could, I would do it full time. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm actually hoping for this to be my retirement plan because, like I said, I work in social services. I ain't got no money. And so I need this to supplement my retirement income because it's coming fast.
Right.
But I think that for me, I have to change because I want to be true to the image. One of the things I always say is I want to live so that no one has to lie at my funeral.
Right.
And so, living my truth, like I said, now, mind you, anything I have said on stage previously, I've said it, and sometimes I still say it when I'm talking with my girlfriends or whatever, and making them laugh about it, but it's an intimate situation. And I realized I've gotten to the point where I don't want to share that with the world.
Right. Yeah.
So I tell stories about my grandma growing up, with my grandmother and her being the ruling force in the home.
Mhm.
And the fact that, I mean, stuff like she never took me to the doctor. I didn't understand it then because they had this show on TV called Emergency 911. And I saw the
Mhm.
other little kids on the show. When they got hurt, the ambulance would come and get them. When I got hurt, my grandmother would go get her youngest son, who was like her physician's assistant, and they would fix me. So,
Okay.
there are a number of funny stories that go along with that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I've become more of a storyteller now.
Yeah, and the things that happened to you when it was happening, it wasn't funny, but you look back and you start telling it, it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, my entire family is funny. Frankly, I'm the only comedian, but I think I'm the least funny person in my family. So at the time, it may not have been funny to me, but
Right.
please know there were people laughing at me in my family.
Right. Yeah, well,
And
I understand that.
and I don't know if you know this, Sylvia, but I grew up in the home with my uncle who had significant disabilities. He was what people call in the industry total care.
Mhm.
And I know that it was being talked about talking about people with disabilities. Well,
Mhm.
in my family, everybody was fair game, including him. Okay.
Yeah.
Where growing up, he had six siblings. And even though he used the wheelchair for mobility, when my grandmother left that house, he would wiggle out of that wheelchair onto the floor and be in the same stuff that the rest of his siblings were into. And
Wow.
my grandmama, when she came back whooping, she whooped all of them, including him. So that's how that's how we treated him, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, okay.
And he would joke on us, even though maybe no one outside of the family could understand what he was saying. We kind of had our own language, grunts and partial words combined with gestures. We had a whole different language that John spoke that we all understood.
Mm. Oh,
So,
okay.
it's according to people are very sensitive, and that's, very true. We're seeing that where people are very sensitive and comedians get, called on the carpet for certain things that they say. But there's also that faction of people who don't take themselves that seriously,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, there is. And I know. So, have you been in a situation where people were offended and they just walked out of the show, or seen
Never.
anybody who do that, or complain about it was too much vulgar language?
No. As a
No.
matter of fact, I've had in some instances based on the audience where it's been said that I didn't get blue enough. So,
Mm,
however, the first time I went on stage, I told the story about being internet dating and going to meet a blind date for the first time. And I talked about those situations and what it's like dating at my age in Atlanta. And I got a standing ovation.
okay.
I did not even one time speak of sex. Now, subsequently after that, according to the audience, I would take the stage and tell the same joke. And it was not well received because there was not any sex or vulgarity in it. And so I'd be like, okay, this is not the audience. And so I think some of that is what tailored my show. But that's the reason I could do everything from church to the strip club if I wanted to, as far as my
Hmm.
comedy is concerned. But and I've done churches and turned it out, and of course in the church I'm not saying talking about the same things I was, in the nightclub. But I think every comedian has to decide who is the audience they want to play to.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? When you were saying that, that kind of remind me when I was in the music industry. I took one of my would you say clients? Anyway, artists. That's the word. I took one of my artists to do a show in Florida. She was trying to give them hype and stuff, and they just wouldn't respond. But when she started cursing and stuff, it's like, whoa, this is it right here.
Right,
She had to
right,
go there in order to get a response from the audience. She had to start cursing.
right.
I'm going, Dad. But
And I have certain ways to open a show if I gauge the audience. Even if I'm not the featured or the headlining comedian,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to be in a situation where at least one other comedian goes up before I do. Because I want to kind of judge the audience. And that becomes from being a social worker. I have to size people up in short order. And so that talks about, I talk about things that appeal to that audience. For example, I did a show one time at a nightclub where there were, you could tell everybody was 20 somethings. It was only a few of us out there, and as I was doing the show, I realized that some of the stuff was making the people my age laugh. But the young people, I was losing them. And of course, those were my coins for the evening. So I had to bring them back. So I
Right.
did a compromise. There were three beautiful young women with, those snatched, as they say, bodies in some
Mm-hmm.
skin tight bodysuits. And, so I went to them and I was like, okay, stand up, model those outfits for me. And they turned around and I was like, okay, see how all that looks in the right place right now? I say, I give you 5 years and two babies, and it's going to look like a sack of potatoes. And so, everybody fell out, so I had to find that middle ground that would
Yeah.
appeal, that would
Oh, okay.
appeal. And so, like Drummer was saying, I don't talk about specific people. Um, I have made jokes about, women, you need to dress according to the body you have and not to the body you want. Make sure that
Mm.
your mirror ain't lying to you, because some of y'all walking out in them bodycon dresses trying to con somebody and you look like a 10-pound bag of Idaho potatoes. And so So it's not anybody specific. And,
Yeah.
because, I don't want to offend people in general. And the other thing about that is, I easy access to me. I don't want nobody trying to hurt me. I'm not about I'm not about to pick on nobody.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yes.
I understand that. Look, I went to a comedy show Thursday night, and the lady said, "Come on, you can sit up here." I'm going, I don't want to sit up front. Because I've been in comedy shows where those people who sit in the front get picked on. So I have to be in the back. I can see from a distance and still laugh if need be.
The beauty of this for me is I can sit in the front because if they come for me, I can give comebacks because, of course, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. I've had friends to come to my shows and go, I'm not sitting up there. I want to sit way back there.
Yeah.
Because even if they weren't worried about me, they were worried about somebody,
Mm.
zeroing in on them.
And you see, the thing is, my husband ain't no better. He'll start reacting to the comedian, embarrassing me. So
Lord help.
I can't sit close with him either.
You know, um, I guess different people, like I said, there are factions who are very sensitive to certain
Mhm.
things. And there are people who use that quote unquote sensitivity to their own ends. And so you really have to have a thick skin as well, not just to sit up front at a comedy show, but to be up on stage.
Mhm.
Because no matter what it is you do, somebody is going to throw slings and arrows.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for this life. Um, I work oftentimes, I'm the oldest comedian that goes out on the stage most of the time.
Mm.
Everybody else is, that is at this stage in their comedy career are much younger than me.
Yeah.
So I've been called auntie. I've had the chance to mentor young artists and encourage them. And I had two mentors, both of whom passed away within like 3 weeks of each other, and both of them were younger than me. Two
Mm.
comedy mentors. And they were giants in the field of comedy, especially here in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And so, but both of them taught me that you have to be able to ride the waves.
Yeah.
A lot of the younger comedians call me auntie, and sometimes I feel like maybe I'm doing this not because I was meant to be a big time comedian, but maybe there are people that I run into because I'm doing this that may
Mhm.
have needed a word from me.
Oh, okay. So when was your first comedy show and where was it?
When was it? I think my first one I did in 2015. And it was an open mic at this place called Cat's Cafe. And at that time, there was a comedian, Carlos Miller, that has gotten very popular and has a podcast with some other comedians. And he was on Wild 'N Out with Nick Cannon and all that. But
Mhm.
he actually was the one that introduced me, and he was the one that started folks calling me auntie in in comedy. So when he first heard, my act, the first time, um, he, was impressed, and that was, like I said, the one where there was no real vulgarity. I
Right.
did call my best friend a name because she set me up she made me go out with the dude, but that was, a little bit of personal pain. but
Okay.
yeah, there was hardly any. And
Oh,
so
okay.
and so he was very impressed with that. So like I said, it's according to the audience. That night I received a standing ovation the first time I was on stage. uh,
Mm.
However, the audience had a lot of people that were my age, so they
Oh, okay.
appreciated what I was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I've also had to bring a room back.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Now, what's that bringing the room back?
uh, that what that means is you get up and you're bombing, or you
Oh,
hit some jokes that aren't hitting with them, and then you have to switch lanes and bring them back.
oh, okay.
And there's a question down here: are there challenges for women in comedy and women of a certain age? What you think? Oh my God, yes. You know, I've experienced as a woman, even being an older woman, I've experienced sexual harassment where, sex for stage time. No, bruh, I'll sit right here in the audience. The thing about me is I got a whole career. I got my own credit card. I can buy me a drink if I want to. Yeah, I don't have to do all that. So,
Yeah.
and yes, and being of a certain age, yes, because there's an expectation when I walk out on that stage. Even though, and Sylvia, you know me on a personal level as well, so I'm gonna dress.
Yeah.
It's gonna be appropriate, but it's gonna be sexy. You know,
Yeah.
that's the way I do it. And people see me at this age walk out on the stage and they expect one thing, and then when I come out of a different bag, you know, the expectation I've shocked them as far as the expectation is concerned, and they really don't know what to do with me.
So, what do you think of the would be the difference between men comedians and women comedians? Is it more challenging to be as a woman? Do you feel it you're being challenged towards men against men with men?
They Let me tell you, we have been trying to put together a tour for female comedians for quite a few of us for a couple of years now. It's very difficult, even though we are heavy hitters, in Atlanta comedy. It is very difficult. Every now and then one of us will slide through, and a couple of people that have encouraged me. Um, um, Baby Kita is one of them that she's been getting a lot of play, and she's been getting screen time and all this, and I'm very proud of her and very happy for her. But she is the norm when it comes to females in comedy.
hmm.
Mm,
Usually we have to be attached to a comedy show that where a male is a headliner. It's
mm,
very rare for a woman to be like, let me put you out there and see. But the thing is, even with me, it's been hard for me to get a headline gig. I've had a feature gig, but it's been hard for me to get a headline gig, even though I got that group of folks that will follow me out, and they got the Mastercards, the Visas, the Discover cards, and the 401ks. So they walk up in there and they buying the salmon and the lobster and the and the Hennessy and the top shelf liquor and all that. Even though I pull that crowd, they know when I come out, they're coming. You know,
yeah.
and so they're not sitting in the back trying to roll up a blunt.
Right.
Okay.
They're actually buying food and all that kind of stuff. So it's you know I have been put on as a feature, not just because I'm funny, but because of who I bring. But they didn't have to give me the headline in order to get the crowd I bring.
Mm.
You know,
Mm,
Even though
Uh-uh.
I may get, that I've had instances where there were comedians that were better known than me, male comedians who would get upset and actually did not want me to perform on that show because they were
Wow.
afraid I might be funnier than they were.
Mm.
Yeah, they always have to take the lead.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
I'm
that
not
was
going to
a
say it's all like that, but I've had those instances.
mm. that was
Yeah,
a question
yeah.
about
I,
the comedy clubs around Atlanta. I know back in the day, they had a couple, like improv, or what's the one that was on Piedmont Uptown
Uptown,
Comedy.
Uptown is now in Hateville, and I've been on that stage a number of times.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
they moved from Marietta Street and Peachtree and all up there, and they're down in Hateville, and they've actually changed locations in Hateville as well. They're off Virginia Avenue now, near
Oh,
Spondivits, and
okay.
all that, and the Irish pub is over in that area.
Yeah,
So
I'm
they've gone
familiar with
over
it.
there. But we have
Okay.
Atlanta Comedy Theater, we have the Laughing Skull, we have many comedy venues here in Atlanta that are excellent. And many of them allow for open mic tryouts, and it can be a very welcoming, community. But keep in mind, there is sometimes a ceiling,
Okay.
that certain people may hit, you know, they'll hit the ceiling and not go any further. There have been opportunities for me to do bigger things outside of the city, but for me, um, comedy was a happy accident. And I know that my calling is social services. So, like I
Mm.
said, it's okay for me to get my name out there now. And when I retire and folks want to come see Black Coffee and I'm getting paid because I'm going to have to supplement their Social Security. So,
yeah.
social services, the 401k don't look that good. But so I'm gonna have to supplement, and it's either that or stripping, and I don't think they want to see me take
Oh,
my clothes.
but you know
And,
what? Uh, and I had a question because we see in the days of Netflix and all these paid for uh channels. I see a lot of other comedians that's probably not as funny as a lot of the sisters. And I know one time Monique went off on them because
Mhm,
they broke that money. Now they'll break some of the brothers off. They'll break Chris Rock, Dave
mhm.
Chappelle. I think they might have broke uh, what's her name, Miss Haddish off, and the lady from Saturday Night Live.
Tiffany
They gave
Haddish.
her some money. But most of the time
But
they're not breaking the sisters off no big money. And
I
they
was
much
about to
y'all
say,
much funnier.
right. I was about to. We got much more to laugh at, but
Okay.
but but and even with the Tiffany Haddish situation, if you put her up against comedians that she's been in movies with and done her check is still smaller than theirs.
Right. Oh, wow.
yeah. So women still being undercut, huh? In
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Who are my influences in comedy? Um, to be honest with you, my grandmama was one of my biggest
Okay.
because that lady had some one-liners that you would not believe, and I still use some of them today. But I grew up, and back in the day when I was younger, of course, Eddie Murphy, was one of mine. But I've also been a big fan of Monique's.
Mm.
And what's my child name? Lord, if I hadn't see, this is what happens when you get in this business in the older age. You forget folks. Some more. Some more is another
Ooh, yeah, I
one
just
of
saw her.
them. Now, believe it or not, one of the people I admire. in comedy was Dirty South. I don't know if you guys are aware of Tanita Campbell and who she was. Tanita Camp, I'm sorry, and who she was. She passed away last year. That was one of
Ooh,
the
yes.
mentors I was talking about. She had done back in the day Def Comedy Jam, and mistakes in life had pulled her out of the limelight. But
Mm,
she was coming back and becoming one of the bigger names here in
okay.
Metro Atlanta comedy. And so I admired her back then. She had dropped off the scene, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience to meet her on stage and have her admire me and the work I did.
Mm.
And
So
Mm,
go
I,
ahead.
I was going to answer the second part of the question about the story behind my name,
Yeah.
Black Coffee. Back in the day, there was this song by Heavy D and the Boys called Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream.
mm,
And
Mm.
I used to do runway shows for modeling, full figure modeling back in the day. Yeah, I was about 100 pounds heavier than I am now, but and it was hard to carry. So I had to have something that was inspirational, and everybody knew I wanted to walk to that song. And so
mm.
people started calling me Black Coffee back then. And even when I bought a brand new car back when the German tags were out, I had one custom made with a cup with coffee in it with steam coming out of it, and it said no sugar, no cream. So
Mm.
Mm.
that that's the origin of my stage name.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to call up some name of comedians and tell me what you think of them. Um, Whoopi Goldberg.
She is amazing. And I don't know why I didn't bring her out as one of the people I admire, because I think I'm kind of headed in that direction. She is more of what I call a social commentary comedian,
Hmm.
where she uses comedy to make people think about the things that are going on in the world, positive and negative. And she is the queen at doing that. I bow to her. I
Mm.
love Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, I do too. Jones Rivers.
Now that little lady right there, she was hilarious, and I loved her because she joked on everybody, including herself and her family. So it
Mm.
wasn't as if she was standing here, looking down her nose and picking fun at everybody else. It was like everybody was funny, and I'm going after all of y'all, and I don't care.
She was a
Roseanne
female
Barr.
Don Rickles.
Yes, yes. But I think she was more lovable than the other. I'm sorry, you said
Roseanne
Roseanne.
Barr.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I don't think she's funny, but hey.
You got any opinion on her, Reggie? No.
Well, only thing I remember her for when she sang the Star Spangled Banner and spit.
Child, now that was a joke in itself.
Yeah.
Tiffany Haddish.
I think she has taken lemons and made lemonade.
Mm.
As a social services professional, I have worked in foster care, and I know the brokenness that comes from that kind of life. And Tiffany has taken that and turned it into an empire. And I say, you
Mm.
go, young queen. Keep it up.
Yeah. I've seen her in a couple of movies and I've heard her stand-up show. I mean, my heart goes out to her from the things that she had to go through. And for her to make it this far, kudos to her. Yeah, I like her.
And just like in social services, many of us who have been through some tough lives, many of us know that we went through that, but the Creator wants us to turn around and help other people through that. And I
Mm.
Mm.
do it in one way in my social services career, and she does it in another in her comedy. she gives permission for people who have been through things like that to laugh.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, she does. Carol Barnett.
Now, come on now, that's the OG. She is the skit comedy queen. I mean, anybody who does not have to say a word and can just let their physical comedy throw you into a laughing coma. That is the OG.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love Carol Barnett, but you know what? When I was watching her, I didn't think of her as a comedian. It was just a show that made me
Right,
laugh.
right.
You know,
She,
but as I
Her,
look back and going, these ladies were comedians. They
her and Lucille
had that
Ball.
line.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Lucy,
Lucille Ball. Even Betty White.
yes,
Uh, uh, and you know what? I'm trying to think of the sister. She's on something right now, like The View, but she always talk about Zetas. Uh, and
oh yeah.
I
And believe it or
uh
not, I met her sister when I was doing social services. But I met her half sister, and I can't remember her name right now. Cheryl
yeah,
Underwood. There it is.
Cheryl
Mhm.
Underwood. I saw she walked her way all the way up because
Yep.
she's Cheryl Underwood would tell you that people were talking about her. They said, man, she don't look that good, this and that, and she
Right.
said, wait till I get some money. Um,
There you go.
and she got that money now.
Look, I'm the same way. I'm looking for somebody to sponsor my tummy tuck and Brazilian butt lift.
Ooh, go ahead,
Y'all,
my sister.
look, y'all won't be able to hit me in the back with a red apple.
uh-huh.
Ah,
Um, oh, Monique.
Monique, I like Monique when it comes to comedy. I have always admired her. But being in social services and working with mental health, I think she may need something else. I think for the
mm,
longest, she has probably struggled with trauma from her past. And, that has a tendency to send us over the edge on certain things.
mm,
And, the vigor, I'll put it that way, with which she makes complaints, which may be valid, put people off.
mm,
And
Yeah.
I think the reason why that vigor is so high, there may be some untreated mental health issues from trauma from her past. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't have a license and I don't know her personally, but from what I've seen that she's put out there, and she played that mama too well impression for her not
mm,
to know of trauma.
mm.
Mm. Oh, okay. So, what do one have to do to get into comedy if they feel like they could make somebody laugh? They want to get into comedy. What can they do?
Write out an outline or your jokes for 3 to 5 minutes and start going to these open mics around town. They are
Mm,
everywhere. You can go and sign your name to the list and they'll put you up. Even at Uptown, they have open mic comedy night. So to
mm,
go to the various venues and try your stuff out, and then take notes. If it doesn't hit, figure out why. Take notes
mm.
and begin to climb.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, uh, as in with previous experience, what happened there, the people, the way they respond at that open night might not work at the next
Right.
one. Yeah.
And
So,
that's why you want to go to more than one.
yeah.
Mm,
Can you hear me? That's why you want to go to more than one, because you need to learn to read what's called reading the room.
mm,
You have to be able to
Ah,
read the room in order to know, because when I go up, I go with an outline. I don't have a joke I don't have jokes written specifically as to how I'm going to deliver them. I base that on the audience that I'm working with.
Right.
Cause I've sat there and watched other comedians go up, and I see what's hitting and how it's delivered. I see what's not hitting, and
Mm.
I take my notes from that.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah, I
I had a
use them
question.
as guinea pigs.
You know, uh, around. I want to ask you about what do you think about Wanda Sykes?
I love her too. Now, that is somebody who is very honest and very open.
Mm,
And she got a way of giving a backhanded insult that folks don't even know they was insulted until 2 seconds after she finished the joke. They go, wait a minute, what? While they're themselves. So yeah,
Ah,
I like Wanda Sykes. She is somebody that she can give you a response to something you said quicker than anybody I know.
mm.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
and, and this is another thing. Uh, I noticed, and I've seen it around in some of the male circuits. Is it something is
I
owning a joke?
I'm
You know,
breaking.
some say, well, they stole my joke. Have you ever had
Yeah,
somebody steal one of your jokes?
not and let me hear it. But
Ah, okay.
uh, and my thing is, but imitation is the best form of flattery for me. So if they
Mm,
found something that I said that funny and they can make it work for them, more power to them. And I have kind of a different attitude about it because comedy does not feed me. Now, mind you, it buys me a couple of designer pairs of shoes, but
mm,
comedy doesn't feed me. It doesn't pay my insurance. It doesn't pay my utilities. Some people, that is their entire livelihood. And so to
right.
steal a joke from them is like taking money from their pocket.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like that with in the movie industry too. When they're bootlegging the films, bootlegging the
Oh,
music,
child.
you taking the money
Mm,
out of their pockets. That's why I try not to
Um,
support that. Even though it's tempting, I'm going, no, no, thank you. Because as an artist myself, I know what it means to the other artists when you're doing that kind of stuff.
mhm.
right.
And that's why streaming services have become so successful. I think the pandemic taught the movie industry something. You got to be quick on the draw and get your money
Right.
out there first.
Mm,
And streaming services allow for that. You know, Movies that go straight to streaming, you don't have as big a risk of it being stolen before everybody get to see it on Netflix or
mm,
on Hulu or whatever streaming platform it is. You can bust it out there first. You ain't sending it to studios to run. You ain't doing it. So it's your product and you're putting it out there first. Now, somebody might do it after that and put it on one of those, but they've become less profitable since the streaming services have come up in the ranks the way they have. Because who wants to run the risk of downloading bootleg movies and you paying for something that ain't quality when you can simply have a 15.99 subscription to Netflix a month and watch what you want to at the quality you want it to be.
Yeah, that would be the better thing to do. Yeah, just
So the
pay for.
bootleggers are going out of business.
ooh. Technology cuts into everybody's money.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Except mine, because I got another part-time job that I use technology for. So look, look, I know that I'm gonna have to keep feeding me, and I like to eat good.
Mm. Okay. So the comedy gonna do it for you, right?
The comedy guns is just gonna supplement it.
Just
See,
gonna sub.
because yeah, I got a whole plan for my retirement. I'm gonna be the comedy life coach. I'm gonna have folks
Ah.
pay me. I'm gonna pay have folks to pay me to coach them about my life, and I'm gonna make jokes about them while I'm talking to them.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So do you have any upcoming events coming up, performances?
I am actually working on a few things, but if you go to my Facebook page, I usually post when I'm about to do a show. I try to do it a week in advance, and that is Black Coffee Entertainment and Inspiration.
Hmm.
That's the Facebook page, and my Instagram is BLKCOFFEEMC.
Oh, okay. BLKCOFFEEMC.
Right.
Okay.
Just,
You
a
know.
play on black coffee, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that. And so yeah, our time is about running out. And again, I got a show coming up. Of course, this is in June, giving people plenty enough time to get their tickets. You can go to Eventbrite and get your ticket. Lord, I need a laugh. That's the name of the show. Lord, I need a laugh. We got gospel music and comedy, all of it clean. So everybody can come. Bring the church, bring the kids, everybody can come and get there.
Excellent.
Or you can reach out to me. I got tickets available. Yeah, June 3rd. It's at the Connect Point in Snellville, 3755 Centerville Highway, 7 o'clock. So everybody can see that. Okay, our time is about run out. You tell us how you can be reached again, Jackie.
Thank you guys for having me on
Yes.
and for
Oh, you're
listening to
welcome.
my crazy. So I appreciate you.
Oh,
Thank
anytime.
you.
And numbers you can be reached
Bye bye,
again.
y'all.
Okay, how you can be reached, Jackie?
I'm sorry.
How can you be reached?
Oh, for comedy,
Yeah.
it's too late to tell the joke now, but I tell you what, I'll do a Facebook post but it's Black Coffee Entertainment and Inspiration on
Hmm.
Facebook, and it is BLKCOFFEEMC on Instagram. And that is how I can be contacted for comedy.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. We appreciate you being here, representing the women in the comedy world, because we got to represent.
We do.
There are a lot of
We do.
guys who out there give the women a try, support them, and don't always think the men are the better ones. Even though it's the men who dominate the comedy world, but we got good women out there who can do some good
Oh,
stuff.
this is
Got to
strong.
Yes.
support them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Definitely.
strong women. So Reggie,
Thank
you
you guys so much for having me
oh
on.
you're welcome. Reggie, your last words.
Support the ladies. It's Women History Month. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Black Coffee. Look forward to seeing you soon. And keep on smiling. Keep on telling jokes and keep on making us happy.
I have to. I got to keep on my path in life.
Okay, and I just want to say, get the book. One of these days, I'm gonna have that right. Power Thoughts Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. You can get this book on Amazon, Google it, or you can go to ankproductions.com, ankproductions.com, and get the book Power Thoughts. And don't forget, Lord, I Would Need a Laugh. It's a gospel and comedy show hosted by Mike Hunter. He's going to be the host. Of course, I am co-hosting, so you got to come out and support.
I know
And
Mike very well.
All the other great, yeah. Come and see all the other great comedians out there. Laughter, we need that laughter right now because so many people are going through a lot of things and they need that laughter. It makes you feel good, okay? So come out and support us in June. Eventbrite, Lord, I Need a Laugh, okay? So until next week, we're going to say goodbye. Enjoy yourself, smile, and say, I love me. Have a good one.
Amen. Bye-bye.